Hello there, morons. Welcome to another laundry video. I stumbled over the first word. Did you hear that? Oh, I always feel like if I can get through the first sentence, everything's going to go smooth. So this video is doomed to destruction. No, not doomed to destruction. You wouldn't see it then. It's doomed somehow. I don't know. We'll see. Let's go on and see what happens. Let's see how it's doomed. Anyway, welcome again to another laundry video. I'm going to pretend you're not even there. I'm just going to talk to you. The microphone, you phallic symbol standing in front of me, all 1.5 meters of your blackness. Feel free to interpret that in whatever way you'd like to. Anyway. So, in case you're new to the channel, this is a laundry video. This is my unedited channel. I just upload basically visual podcasts, right? There's not much to see here, though I am videoing today at 1280 at 60 frames per second because that's what the Canon offers. It doesn't have 1280 at 30 frames per second. Why Canon? I don't understand. Someone explain it to me. I'm sure there's a lot of camera nerds who will be so happy to enlighten me on this. It's funny how proud people are of being smart about certain things. I know this, and I'm so proud, but I know nothing. I'm a moron. So let me. Yeah, this is, like I said, train of thought kind of video. So I'll start off today with talking about a video. I was teaching an expression today. Oh, well, maybe you've heard of it. Now, last week or so, I didn't catch the news when it first happened, but apparently there was a big avalanche. Damn it, and I forgot. I knew it a few minutes ago, but I forgot now. Dare, something, avalanche in Japanese. I forgot what is it? Is nadare? That's what it is. That's nadare. Nadare is a N-A-D-A-R-E. If you're spelling it out, is an avalanche. The first kanji is snow, and what does the second kanji mean? Let's see what the second. The second means crumble. Yes. Okay. So anyway. The crumbling snow is a nadare. I assume that kind of avalanche would only be a snow avalanche. I guess there are other kinds of avalanches, but anywho, there was an avalanche on Mount Everest last week, and 13 Sherpas died. 13 people died. 10 of them are Sherpas. 3 of them are missing. I think they're Sherpas too. Only 3 were white people. Thank God, only white people. Only 3 white people. Good. In case you don't know, I want to say white people as an insult, kind of in this case, though I am partially white, so that makes no sense. No, it isn't. It isn't white or black or Sherpish or not non-Sherpish. Sherpa. Sherpa, by the way, is apparently a non-countable noun. The Sherpa. But yeah, it's basically an issue of money, and that's something that's always bothered me. Now let me shed some light on you in case you didn't know. I was brought up well. I was brought up not with a silver spoon in my mouth, not at all. But I was brought up, never lacking anything. I never lacked for anything. But I was not spoiled. Okay. However, I was given many opportunities growing up that many people don't have or didn't even now don't have. Many people. I understand. I was lucky. Okay, let's put it at that. Okay, but by no means rich. However, I was given a chance one summer to play tennis. Now, my brother played tennis, and he's really, really good. He used to be. I don't think he plays anymore, but I was given a chance to play tennis, and I was good at it. But I didn't like it because, in my mind, it felt like an elitist sport, and I didn't want to do anything that was elitist. I felt like it was, unfair to play sports that poor people like Tiger Woods, would not be able to play. But of course, you don't see a lot of people playing tennis except for Arthur Ashe. Did he turn out to be gay, or did he just die from AIDS? But I don't remember. Anyway, someone tell me what happened. What was the deal with him? And very few black tennis players back in the day. Of course, now you have the Selena and Venus sisters, but not too many others, right? It's still mostly not a black-friendly sport, or at least not yet. I'm sure in the future it'll change. There'll be some other people some other ethnic groups who, maybe not black, but whatever. Anyway, that's not the point. Anyway, the point is, growing up in America, it's basically in my mind it was an elitist sport. So I didn't want to play. So I played one summer. They sent me to summer, I don't know, a month of tennis camp or some shit. I don't remember. Now that I think about it, when I say it, it sounds like, well, I was kind of like brought up spoiled or something. But But I refused to continue, even though I was good at it. I was actually one of the best in the team, on the team, or camp, or whatever the hell you call it. And that's how I feel about this kind of activity, where only rich people can afford to climb Mount Everest. And actually, one of my favorite Japanese celebrities, I guess, talento, her name is Imoto, and she's this kind of not attractive, but at the same time beautiful. It's hard to explain, but she's this really athletic girl, and she's got really bad teeth and kind of chubby. Not a great body, but sturdy, but strong. You know, she can do a lot of athletic shit. You know? And they send her all over the world on these to explore things, and she gets really active with all these people. She'll take part in circus acts and dance. She'll learn how to dance and do all these and use all these funny contraptions. She's scared of snakes. Anyway, and she always dresses wearing a high school uniform. I'll put a link in the description. And she doesn't care that her teeth are terrible. She's had her teeth fixed. Sometimes they fall out during the fake ones will fall out during a show. And she'll visit the weirdest places in the world, do the most interesting things. And anyway, she's a lot of fun. I like her. And she's not afraid to show her ugly face sometimes, you know, not to show her best face. Though when she's all made up, you know, she cleans up nice, what I want to say. But anyway, she's there this week apparently climbing Mount Everest. I don't know what happened to her. But so a lot of people are interested in Japan in this Sherpa disaster because of that. Because I'm worried about her. A lot of my students are like, yeah, I like Imoto, and I'm worried about her. But where was I going with this? Where was I going with this? What were we talking about? Elitist. Yes. Oh God, I completely forgot. I'm completely. Yeah. So anyway, the fact is that it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame that these people. Where the hell was I going with this? What was I starting? Do I have to go back and rewind this goddamn thing? I should make notes or something. No, the thing is, I wasn't headed this way. I wasn't even planning to talk about the Sherpas, but I was talking about them in class. They're interested in that. We feel bad, but I feel worse for the Sherpas because yeah, they get like $700 a year. That's their salary. I mean, not Sherpas, but people in Nepal. That's their average salary. But if you become a Sherpa climber, you can get like 4,000 for one climb or something like that, or 4,000 in a season, which is an amazing amount of money. Oh yeah, and they died, and the government's offering them $410 each as death compensation. They're all outraged, and they all want to close the season early, and good for them. You know, good for them. I wish them well. I don't remember where I was going to go with this, but I was thinking about shit. I'm gonna have to pause and go back, and I'm sorry, but I'll be back. I guess I'll have to edit this goddamn thing, but it'll still be I'll still put it on this channel. Hold on. Okay, I'm back, and yeah, so apparently this video is doomed. I remember now. Okay, so I was teaching. We were teaching the Sherpa article. Okay, and in the article they talked about Hillary, the guy who first climbed it. I think his name was Hillary. Anyway. No, I think Hillary Clinton. That doesn't make sense. And the name of the Sherpa, you know, which I'm embarrassed that I was thinking as I heard it. I was thinking I should remember the name of who. Yeah, here we go. It's the first like who climbed. As soon as I type in who climbed, it says who climbed Mount Everest first, and here they come. Okay, Percival. Yeah, Percival Hillary and his companion Tenzing Norgay. I should have known that. And how do you get a name Norgay if you're a Sherpa? I don't understand that. But anyway, we're teaching that article, and they talked about ever since Percival Hillary climbed Mount Everest on May 29th, 1953, Mount Everest has been on everyone's bucket list. Okay, that was the thing. So I was checking out the movie Bucket List because I have it, and there's a scene called in the catalog and when you're going through the DVD. There's actually one of the choices of, you know, what do they call it, chapters, I guess. It's called the Bucket List, and I clicked on that and I was watching that. And in that scene, Jack Nicholson has discovered a piece of paper that has Morgan Freeman's bucket list on it. And he's trying to convince Morgan Freeman that he should do all those things that are on the list. And Morgan Freeman is like, no, it's just a metaphorical exercise. When I was a freshman in college, I never meant to, you know, be, you know, that's ridiculous. And Jack Nicholson says, there's still time. You can do it, you know. You can go out guns a-blazing. And, you know, you don't have to just die. Go home and try and just die. You know, let's do it. So anyway, he tries to convince him. And he says there's still time. And Morgan Freeman says, time for what? Time for what? What am I going to do? Time to make a fool out of myself? Oh, that's what it was. I'm sorry. He says, you still have a chance. And he says, a chance to do what? Make a fool out of myself? And then Jack Nicholson says, there's still time. Something like that. But anyway, the point was, my students couldn't figure out what he was referring to. Like, still time to do what? And it wasn't the bucket list, the chance, yeah. The point was he was referring to making a fool out of yourself. And Jack Nicholson was saying, yeah, so what? So you make a fool out of yourself. And then I was thinking, morons, king of morons. And that's kind of the spirit behind this, you know. It's okay to be an idiot and moron and don't worry about making a fool out of yourself. And when I teach it, like when I teach kids or high school kids, I notice that when I teach children, and I don't teach so many, but I've taught a lot. I mean, thousands of people of all ages through the years here. 23 years of teaching in Japan. I noticed that a lot of little kids, they're not shy at all, and they'll speak so loudly. But then there's a time for some of them where they get shy, and they don't want to, and they're afraid of making mistakes, and they're almost apologetic, like, I don't know, she don't know what God must. And they have this I try to teach my students, you should be proud of not knowing. You should not almost proud. You should really be proud, but you should say, hey, I don't know. It's okay. Just say it. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. You don't even have to say I'm sorry. Just I don't know. And I pretend I joke with them. I say it proudly, like you're proud, you know. But because the point is, if you admit you don't know, then you're opening the door to knowing, and that's kind of the spirit behind this whole Japanese for morons thing. So I was kind of chuckling to myself as I heard Jack Nicholson and Morgan Freeman's conversation. I was like, yeah, that's you know, and maybe that seed was planted in me that way. Who knows where we get ideas? You know, who the hell knows? But anyway, my father, great man, taught me that you should it's always okay. I think they even say it in some Japanese, like a moment of embarrassment compared to a lifetime of shame. Yeah, asking if you're embarrassed to ask a question because you don't know, you'll have a moment of embarrassment. But compare that with a lifetime of shame of not knowing something that you could have known by just asking the question. So don't be embarrassed if you don't know. But the thing is, people, yeah, on the internet, I'm finally circling back to the internet. People love to show how smart they are and to try to make you feel stupid because you didn't know something. And of course, nobody knows everything. Even the smartest guys don't know everything. I was watching, there's a new show called, I don't know what it's called, Silicon Valley or something. And there's a really smart guy on it who has never had a hamburger. He's never had a Burger King burger. And he's like really interested in it. It looks like a pretty good show, by the way. But anyway, the point is there are pockets of ignorance, and I call this in everybody. And I use this in my own for myself as well. Like I've learned Japanese. I've passed every level, the EQ and etc. But of course, there are pockets of ignorance, right? And actually, today, interestingly enough, I met a guy named Ray who emailed. I think I told you guys about him. He emailed me, and he was supposed to meet us last night. I went out last night with Shane, as you know from the last video, and Regan, and we had a really good time. But we were supposed to meet Ray. He was supposed to come, and he was supposed to meet us at a certain designated spot, right? And he didn't show up. And, you know, I'm not really surprised because I've traveled a lot, and those guys have traveled a bit, although, of course, I would imagine a little bit younger, but a little bit less than I have probably. But anyway, the point is, one of the rules of traveling is rendezvous do not work. Rendezvous do not work. Never. They never work. So you shouldn't be surprised. So don't count on it. You should always have a backup. That's the point. So he didn't show up. So we went off. We went to Osaka. We had ramen. My wife came. We all just hung out and had a good time. Chat. Nothing special. Just hung out. But today, you know, Ray apparently he'd been sick and he'd overslept. So he emailed, he apologized, and I wasn't pissed. I was like, yeah, that happens, you know. You're lost, son of a bitch. Okay, no. And today he came and he brought me this bottle as an apology, which is really good stuff, and I'm really looking forward to drinking this. So actually, the people have asked me, why did you stop drinking? Are you an alcoholic? No, I have no like shakes or anything like that. I really would like a drink, but. It's nothing. Look at all this is waiting for me back there. All these bottles. Can you see that back there? There's bottles back there. I'm gonna have a good time later. But anyway, and a 4-liter bottle over there behind the camera. But what was the point of this? Is it happening again? Oh, he didn't show up, so he made a mistake. Shit. God, it happened again. Do I have to turn off the camera again? Well, just a minute. What was the point of that? Mistakes happen, and you learn from them. It's okay. Sometimes things that don't work out turn into good things, like I get a free bottle of whiskey. I hung out with him today. We had a good time today, but what's the point of that? Damn it, I forgot. It's all connected. We'll see. I'm sure. I'll turn it off and find out. Okay, let's find out. Let's see what the hell's wrong with me today. Yes, I'm back, and well, the good news about this is I will slowly be taking off my clothes as I make mistakes. This video is doomed. I remember now. So, Ray, who came to the school, I had some work to do, so we were sitting in the school chatting, and he was telling me he wanted to make a doro dango, and I'd never heard of it. I looked it up. Apparently, it's pretty cool. Like a lot of people know. You probably know about it, right? I've never heard of this. So I asked my coworker, and she's like, "Yeah, I know about those things." Like, never heard of those things. So that's what I mean by a pocket of ignorance. You know, apparently all this time, people are getting dirt balls and polishing them until they're beautiful, and it's a kind of art, I guess. I don't know. And kids make them. It's popular with kids. Anyway, pockets of ignorance. And today, one of those pockets was filled thanks to Ray, and probably thanks to the fact that Ray was sick yesterday. So a lot of things were accomplished today. Anyway, it was a good day. Good day. I want to get to some other stuff that happened. It's all connected. It's all connected. Remember, this is a train of thought. Everything's connected. One thing before I go on, I'd like to make a couple comments regarding other videos. Rachel and June put up a video yesterday about cats. I don't know what it's called. I forgot. Something cats. Something about cats. But anyway, it's I guess I should have the title ready. But it's about cat committee, something like that. And in the video, it's in a park and some old guy's feeding these cats. And I just want to make I don't want to cause any drama with this. It's not a big deal, but I think it's really irresponsible to feed cats. What do you guys think about that? I mean, I love animals. My dad, who you know I can't praise enough, taught me to love all animals. He would bring home like hurt pigeons and hurt cats. So we've had all kinds of animals in my house, except snakes. My mother just so hates snakes. So, but we've had pigeons, we've had cats and dogs, but I think it's irresponsible to feed stray cats that are out there, although they're cute and all that, and you feel bad because no one else is doing it. But I think it's wrong. You know, I think if you really care about the animal, you should go and get it. You should get it spaded. Pay for it to get it spaded. Is that what you say? Spaded, you know, fixed, whatever. So they can't have more kids because there's too many goddamn cats everywhere. I mean. I think I don't have any, okay, I'm allergic to cats, so yeah, I have that against them. But if I got to know a cat, I'd be okay with a cat. But thing is, I'm kind of an asshole about this in my neighborhood, and I've basically gotten rid of all the stray cats in my neighborhood, not by killing them, but by just telling everyone in the neighborhood, stop feeding the goddamn cats. So when we moved into this neighborhood, our house was built, and we moved into the house, brand new house, and like the first, I don't know, month or so, some cats like took a shit on my front deck, porch, whatever you want to call it, you know, the stairs, walking in my house, you know. And I was like annoyed, and I knew this couple would walk around, this cute couple, holding hands and feeding the cats. And I told him, I said, look, I know, look, I don't want to be a jerk, but no matter what you say, you come off like a jerk, you know. I told him, look, please don't feed the cats because they're shitting on my. I know we just moved in here. I know we're the new guys, but they're shitting on my stairs, you know. I don't want to wake up, walk out, and step in and shit, you know. And they would shit everywhere, like the whole side of the house. There's like a kind of there used to be there's a parking lot next to our house, where a big apartment building, and there's like this, I don't know, ditch, a very slight ditch, only this wide, right? But just wide enough so a cat can jump down there and take a shit. And there wasn't anything keeping them out of it. We eventually put these little these kind of thorny things on there to keep them out, but for the first couple of, I guess, year or so, cats would go down there and take a shit, and it got really bad. We couldn't open the window because it would just smell like all this cat shit smell was seeping up, and it was disgusting. So yeah, I got this thing about cats. So I don't know, June, if you June watches, not June and Rachel. I think they both watch my videos, most of them. So thank you, by the way, guys. But yeah, I mean, don't you think we should do something about that? I mean, I think it's kind of fucked up. Okay, but the reason I'm making this video is that, okay, last night we did this video with Shane and Regan, and Shane told us a story about a kind of a nightmare experience that that one of his coworkers had at an ex school where he used to work. And after that, I got this email from this guy. And let me remind you all, please do not email me on YouTube. Email me at gimmeabreakman@gmail.com. I have to tell it every time. A couple things I have to say every time. That and Tomoko's not my wife. That's the other thing I have to say every time. Okay. Hi, Tomoko. Okay. Anyway, so here's the story. I'm just going to read it because it's kind of interesting. It's kind of long, but let's get to it. Okay, so it's called My Eikaiwa Nightmare, a Cautionary Tale. Okay, and it's just one guy's experience, of course. It's not scientifically valid. I haven't had this experience. I've heard of experiences like that, but it's just a story that some guy claims is true. So you can decide. There's no real reason to not believe him, but you can decide. And if anyone doesn't believe him for any reason, please feel free to leave your comments and your crazy conspiracy theories about, you know, who killed Kennedy and Sasquatch and all that. Okay. I was watching the religious rites and eating out vegans in Japan video and wanted to comment with my experience after hearing what Shane shared. I wanted to share my experience as well, but this is too long for the comment section. I got screwed over by every English company I ever worked for in Japan, unfortunately. And actually, if you talk to Stephanie over at, God, what's her name? I know her real name, so I forgot her username. God damn it. The Italian chick from Miami she's not Italian, actually. Well, actually, her lady name's Italian. She lives in England now. I met her in Germany. What the hell's her username? Stephanie, I'm so sorry. It's 1 in the morning. Okay. She had a lot of bad experiences, too. So a lot of people have had bad experiences. Back to this the email. I got screwed over by every English company I ever worked for in Japan, unfortunately. LOL. Maybe it's the luck of the draw, but I got unlucky 3 times in a row. I've been wanting to make a video about this for a long time, actually, but I'm too much of a wimp to do it, just in case anybody from this particular company were to come across my video and see me on YouTube. I could probably get sued for talking about the company, which is why I remain anonymous as well. If you decide to make a video about this, I do apologize that this message is so long. I did try to condense it as much as possible. I'm very interested in what you have to say about it, as well as the rest of the J-vlogging and English teaching community. So after I read this email, please feel free to comment. And if you're early, be honest, we're okay on this channel. My partner and I had a move date up the year we moved here. Had a move date set up the year we moved here, but I got a job through Gaijin Pot. They interviewed me via Skype 3 times and emailed me what I was told several times was my contract, quotation marks. The one I would be signing when I got to Japan. So they sent it to me and they told me to look it over. I sent them all my paperwork and I was effectively hired. I just needed to sign my contract in person. The contract they emailed to me looked perfectly reasonable. I read it several times, every word and all of the fine print, so I would be informed and there would be no surprises. I even set up appointments to talk with the manager, the person in charge of hiring me, over Skype to discuss all of my questions and concerns. He was an American and living in Japan for almost 20 years and seemed very forthcoming and easy to talk to, so I was totally comfortable. My partner and I decided I may as well go ahead and move a few weeks early so I could begin work. We both were celebrating because we thought after moving to Japan I would find a job, and I thought I was extremely lucky to secure a job beforehand. The company, of course, did not pay for my ticket. I paid my own way and moved in with my in-laws straight away. And this is pretty typical. I did this as well, of course. I know a lot of people who hire. I've hired overseas as well. My brother's hired overseas. We don't pay. Nobody pays for the ticket usually. Rarely, but that's typical. Anyway, okay, so the day after I landed in Japan, the manager came to pick me up and took me to lunch, which I paid for. Normally, your company will pay for your meal when they take you to a restaurant. I agree, that's kind of weird. When he picked me up, I noticed that he wasn't as personable as he was over Skype and email. He actually seemed kind of nervous and quiet. Misspelled, English teacher. After eating, he took me to the main office to sign my contract. I was presented with a completely, big letters, different contract that was nothing big letters like the one I was emailed. I was in total disbelief and shock. I'm looking at the time because we might lose it. Okay, anyway, we'll try. If the camera cuts off, I'll turn it on again. I actually thought they were playing a prank on me, being the new hire, but it wasn't a prank. I got up, went to the room where he was, and asked him to please come back into the room so that I could speak with him. He had this look on his face like he was just called into the principal's office. It was quite strange to see him behave like that. I read through it section by section, which made him extremely uncomfortable, and he asked me if we could pause so he could get a drink of water. He came back and said, "Well, the contract I sent you was only a sample contract, not your actual contract. That's why we need you to come in to the office to sign it in person." My blood was boiling, and I was panicking because I knew my in-laws expected me to work, and I knew I couldn't be unemployed hanging around the house while I looked for work. Feeling the weight of the world suddenly on my shoulders, I pressed my seal. So he had a hunko. I pressed my seal. We don't do signatures in Japan. Some people, usually we get away with it, but he was prepared. I pressed my seal. Where the hell are we? Into the paper. I felt literally sick to my stomach because I knew I was in trouble. He looked very shocked that I had signed it because we read it together, and anyone with 2 brain cells to rub together could see how god awful it was. It was a slave's contract with a very shady and ambiguous description of expected remuneration. It essentially stated that I understood that at any time my salary could be withheld at the discretion of the management with no reason given as to why. There was a tardy clause stating that I understood 50% of my salary would be withheld if I was late even one time, and one tardy would disqualify you for your ichiman bonus at the end of your contract. Ichiman, that's 10,000, that's $100. I gave $1,000 bonus. No, I gave a 1-month bonus, which was like I think 300,000 yen, but years ago. The company's definition of late is less than 15 minutes before clock-in time. So a lot of companies want you to be there 10 minutes early. Yeah, that's typical. I know some company that demands 1 hour early because it's a faraway trip. It's a business class. But anyway, it also said I could not talk about the company ever, or I would be sued. There was even an English-only clause stating, and this is crazy. I couldn't believe this is true. There was even an English-only clause stating that I couldn't use Japanese in public because as an employee, I am a walking advertisement for the company. They advertise that their foreign teachers don't speak any Japanese, offering a full immersion experience. If a client spots a teacher in public speaking Japanese, the company will look bad. I found this difficult to swallow because this will impede on any person's lifestyle. There was a moonlight clause stating that I can't work a part-time job anywhere else. I had one of those in my first job while working for their company, so no second job to supplement my possible lack of income. Employees were expected to work all weekends and holidays because that's when working Japanese people have time for lessons. 1 Sunday a month is a half day off, and if you have the option of selecting either 2 half days off during Monday to Friday or 1 full day off. So don't say anything. Let me just tie this together. Okay, so where were we? Yes. So so essentially, you are expected to work 6 days a week. Requesting days off requires 3 months in advance in writing. Employees will be penalized for not reaching sales quotas. Now, just so you understand, a lot of schools, they want you to make sure students re-sign their contracts, okay, for another 3 months or another 6 months. So that's usually what people get you to do. And some schools make a lot of money by selling the students these packages when they first enter, especially kids. Like they'll sell them like a $3,000 package of all these cars and books and crap. So that's another way. But that's usually not the teacher's job. That's usually the staff. The staff does that, and the teacher just teaches there. But the teachers are expected to get the students to resign, and if they don't, they're kind of blamed. So there's that too. Okay, so let's see. So if your student doesn't show up for class, then where are we? Yes. So yeah, other things in this guy's case, you have to sell extra lessons or study materials to your students. If your student doesn't show up for class, the student forfeits that money and can't reschedule. The teacher will not be paid for their time either. Kind of typical if you're a part-timer, but if you're full-time, they usually doesn't have anything to do with your salary. Most jobs are salaried, full-time. The company has the right to keep that money. Any teaching material the teacher is expected to provide, and the company is not responsible to reimburse you for those materials. Example, your own whiteboard markers. They provide a whiteboard eraser though, LOL. Paper, pens, etc. So they provide papers and pens, okay. So I don't know what else they could be talking about. You don't really need, the only thing is the books. The next section is kind of screwed up. Check this out. Any lessons or materials for teaching that you create become, any lessons or materials for teaching you create become the intellectual property of the company. I've created so many lessons. Oh my God. I've never heard that before. Though I guess in corporations and stuff, I've heard that, but not in teaching. Okay. You have to rent a teacher's version of textbooks. You pay for them, then return them to the company at the end of your contract. And you can't take the textbooks home with you either, so that you don't make copies of it. This gets complicated because you work several different offices during the day, so you have to return to the main office at the end of the day to put your books away and clock out. You are paid per lesson, not per hour or day. So if your student doesn't show up, no money for you. If your student was unsatisfied with their lesson, you don't get paid for that lesson either. This happens frequently if you're too pushy when trying to sell them the stuff, extra lessons and material. Because they aren't supposed to realize that you are selling it to them. It has to come off as a recommendation, quotation marks. And you have to recommend products and more lessons at the end of each lesson. I could go on forever and it gets worse and worse, but I will leave it there. When I got home that night, I brought the copy of my contract with me so my father-in-law could read it. He and my mother-in-law were stunned how completely different it was from the other contract. I was so devastated at the mess I got myself into. My in-laws, to my surprise, asked me to please not work there, and if I needed a lawyer to get me out of that contract, they would hire me one. So there are quite a few good Japanese people who will look out for you. Not everyone's here to screw you over. Screw you over, I should say. They insisted that there are better companies out there, which gave me hope. I felt a sense of relief wash over me hearing them say that. The next morning at 6:30 a.m., the manager came around to pick me up. 6:30 a.m.? Who the hell goes to work at 6:30 a.m.? I've never heard of teachers. Even when I've done like high school work, never that early. Anyway, I guess if you've got a long commute, it's possible. Yeah, I don't think it's ever happened to me. No, not leaving at 6:30. Okay. Anyway, the next morning at 6:30 a.m., the manager came around to pick me up so we could make it on time before clock-in. I was sweating bullets and could barely breathe. I was so nervous to tell him I can't work there. He got angry at first and yelled at me, and then suddenly he calmed down and said, I kind of knew this would happen. But why did you sign the contract in the first place then? The president will probably let you out without much fuss if you finish out the work week. So I agreed to finish the work week while they hurriedly lured in the next victim. In my case, I was very fortunate because being that I arrived with my own visa. Yes, if your company doesn't own your visa, you have a lot more, finagling room. Is that a word? Finagling room. You can finagle a bit. You got wiggle room. Okay. So he had a visa, he had a place to live, and a support system to back me up. So I was able to move on to two other companies later that also screwed me over, unfortunately. Usually when payday came around, this would happen. I worked a full week at this first company from 7:30 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. Wow. I was paid a little over 2,000 yen after startup fees, taxes, and not teaching satisfactorily. If they do this kind of thing on a regular basis to their regular employees, I have no idea how these people survive in Japan. I really don't. Eventually, I did find a good job. I worked in a restaurant part-time, and it was light years better than those English companies. The first year, I had a very bitter taste in my mouth, but now, a few more years after that taste has washed away. My life in Japan feels normal again. I learned many valuable lessons from those experiences. For those who may enjoy teaching English, I would recommend the JET program, Sister Cities programs, or the Fulbright program, etc. But I'm sure there are many other decent and reputable English companies out there as well that treat their employees fairly. And there really are. Yes, in general, it's true. They're actually not too bad. I would also recommend bringing a large amount of money with you to pay for 3 months of living, rent, utilities, food, and transport in case a person comes across a shady company like the ones I did, and they need to find another job. I really wouldn't wish those experiences I had in the shady world of the eikaiwa on other people. I did alt work as well, and it was far better than the eikaiwa, but still left much to be desired. I apologize again for this massiveness of this message. If you were able to finish reading this epic, otsukaresama deshita. So, yes, there you go. So, anyway, an interesting bad story. Again, like I said, it's just one example. Thanks for watching this long-ass video, guys. Though, I think that was all I wanted to say about this. It's just an interesting follow-up to that video. And, yeah, I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks always for watching these massive... watching or listening to these videos. Let me leave you with a question just to see who got to the end. Right? Who is your favorite South Park character? That's the question. I would have to say Cartman for me. But I have a mug at school with Kenny on it because they killed Kenny, goddammit. Morons for life, guys. Morons for life. Morons for life. Wear it proudly. Good night.